Hi, Lauren. So, welcome back.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thanks for coming in today.
Thank you.
All right. So, just a little bit of a summary of what we did last time. You came in and we're talking about how you're in the middle of grad school, but you're a little unsure if this is the right field for you. So, you wanted a little bit of guidance to see if there's anything out there that fits you a little bit better, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, then we also talked about some assessments that might work really well for you. And one of the assessments that we did do was the SSI, which is the Strong Interest Inventory. All right, so I do have your results back from that, and I was wondering if it'd be okay if we can go over that together today.
Absolutely.
All right, perfect. So these are your results. Just a warning, it is a little lengthy, but it's all very important information, and I think will really help you make a choice on your career.
Awesome.
Okay? So just to reiterate, this is all about your interests. It's not about, it doesn't measure like your skills or your specific abilities. It's just areas of interest that you might want to look a little bit further into. Okay. All right. So it is broken down into 6 sections. This is how it works. So the first one is your general occupation theme, and then the next one is your basic interest scale. The third one is your occupational scale. Fourth is personal style scale, and then your profile summary, and then your response summary.
Okay.
All right, so we'll go over those in order, okay?
Okay.
So the first one is your general occupational themes. This breaks down into 6 categories, and they are social, artistic, enterprising, conventional, realistic, and investigative. So down here you can see your top 3 is social, artistic, and enterprising. What do you think about that?
Can you tell me a little bit more about each of them?
Yeah, absolutely. So as you can see, social is you like to work with people. It's very community-based, teamwork. You like helping people. So like teaching's a really good one. Psychology's a good one. Like community service is a good one as well. So that's like social. Makes sense?
Yep.
Artistic is very like self-expressive, creativeness, finding new ways to do things that keeps them kind of fresh and new and innovative. So that one would be like dancing and music, and like visual art. So like maybe videography or photography.
Cool.
All right. Enterprising is the next one. This one is a little bit more kind of structured. So it's like business, politics, leadership, things like that. So that one would be a good one. It says selling, management, persuading, and marketing. So do you agree with those? Were you surprised that those are your top 3?
No, I really care a lot about helping other people. It makes me feel really good, especially when I can apply my own creative and my experience, like those aspects of myself. And also I would like to own my own business someday, but I also thought it was interesting that enterprising came up because my grandpa always said I'd make a good lawyer.
Oh, nice. So there are some connections.
But still nice.
That's okay. So then it also like puts your top 3 into a theme, so like your general occupation theme, and yours is SAE, so social, artistic, and enterprising.
Cool.
Are there any of them that you thought should have been higher, like
No.
the investigative, realistic, conventional?
No. I like, like office work because I don't really have to think too hard. So it's kind of like therapeutic, but I couldn't do that the rest of my life.
Okay.
It's more of like a good part-time job.
Okay, perfect.
So I definitely lean more towards the right brain.
Okay. So the next is your basic interest scale. So this one is just what you like to do, like activities, leisure time, projects, just things like that. And it kind of brings it all together as incorporating those things that you like in your leisure time into your work environment so you can be satisfied in your work environment. Make sense?
Awesome.
Okay. So your top 5 interest areas is office management, healthcare services, human resources and training, counseling and helping, and nature and agriculture. And these little symbols, like the C, the S, and the S, that goes back to the conventional, the social. So the office management is conventional. The next three are all social. And then the last one is realistic.
Cool.
Yeah. And then this is just another way for you to see like what you scored highest in each one of those 6 categories.
Mm-hmm.
So like in the social, your highest is healthcare services, but your lowest is the teaching and education.
Yeah, I hate children.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What about like teaching college? Would that be something more your speed?
Yeah, that's something that I'm doing now, and
okay.
I really like it, but I'm wondering, my interest probably reflected in the more creative, artistic aspects of that.
Yeah.
So, because my class was really kind of out of the box.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So,
well,
I'm not surprised about healthcare either.
Your artistic, all of them are pretty high, moderately high to very high. So that's pretty significant. So even like your lowest is pretty moderate, and that's the performing arts. And then writing and mass communication is number 1.
Cool.
Yeah. And then enterprising, like I said, surprisingly, the only one that's pretty moderate is the entrepreneurship, and then things like law and sales are pretty low in that category. Do you agree with that?
I can do it. It's just I'm not passionate about
it's just not something you want.
Yeah, but I'm not surprised about the entrepreneurship because, I love being as independent as possible.
All right. Well, let's look at some of your lower ones because you scored very high in office management.
I just love stapling papers.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I love scanning things.
Okay. So that's good. And then you're also pretty high in nature and agriculture and protective services.
That's interesting because I never really thought, like, I like gardening indoors. So basically watering my plants once a month. I'm really good at that.
But you've never like thought about taking that interest and turning it into like a career?
Yeah, like I could imagine like if I went down like the Parks and Rec avenue, I could find happiness there. It's just I feel like I'm more drawn to other areas, but I bet I'd be good at it, and I bet I'd like it out.
Nice. And then investigative, everything's pretty low on that one. So like medical science is your highest, but it's still kind of on the lower side of that. Mathematics, science, and research is all pretty low. It's not things.
For me, it's boring.
Yeah,
I like learning about them like on the side, but like I like learning like about astronomy from like a Neil deGrasse Tyson perspective.
A more like creative type of theoretical view.
Yeah, like I can't do like the whole math astronomy thing.
Yeah, so that goes back into your artistic, so that makes sense that that's pretty high.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any questions over this so far? Okay, we'll keep going. So these are your occupational skills. There are 130 that are associated with this particular assessment, and this just narrows down like your top 10. The top 10 that you like, and then a few that you just really would not be like at all. So your top 5, let's take a look at those. Advertising account manager is your number 1. Administrative assistant is number 2. Mental health coordinator or counselor is 3. Photographer, occupational therapist, career, and it just kind of goes on. What do you think about those? Is that pretty spot on, or were you surprised to see any of that?
Yeah, I'm surprised about the number 1 being advertising account manager because the results specifically said that sales wouldn't interest me. So that's really interesting.
But if you look at the category, it's artistic and entrepreneur, so or enterprising. So that's like one of your top 2 core of the 6 categories. So it could be that you just need to look at it from like a different angle instead of thinking of it as the sales and number crunching and things like that. So that's something that we could definitely explore a little bit more.
Yeah, I need to learn a lot more about it because I don't really know what it would entail.
Okay. So then like your dislikes is like mathematician, sociologist, R&D manager.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised that sociologist was on the dissimilar interests because I do think that societal patterns are interesting, but I'm guessing it's probably because of all the research involved.
Yeah, it has the I in there for investigative, and that's where like you scored the lowest, and that was research, so that definitely could be it. Yeah. So this just kind of outlines more of your occupational skills. It tells like what you scored in the highest and like the social, and then like what the lowest is, and it just goes on in each one of those 6 categories.
Okay.
So as we're looking through this, were we surprised?
Well,
or is anything standing out to you?
It makes me feel good that for the social aspects, mental health counselor is my top match. That makes me feel more confident about the path that I'm already on.
Good.
Bartender, that would make sense.
Yeah. Have you ever been a bartender?
No, I've been a server before, and like I can't handle people's impatience. Like if I'd rather get yelled at by a client for being dissatisfied with my counseling skills than I would a customer being mad that I didn't get them their to-go box right away.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
What about artistic? Account manager keeps coming up pretty highly for you.
Yeah. I really have to research that because I'm not seeing the connection, but I also don't know enough about it. Okay. So we'll have to definitely explore that. I feel like most of the things on this list would be things that I do as hobbies, but maybe the lack of pay, like, so for example, photographers, my second best match, and like I just know too much about the photography industry. Like they get paid horribly and people keep wanting free work, and that'd be really frustrating for me.
Okay, but so you want to take your hobbies and put them into work, but you also value getting paid and compensated for the work that you actually put in.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. The next one is your enterprising and conventional. It kind of starts off very strong and quickly kind of dwindles down into the not so strong, moderate area.
Yeah, I really like all the things on this list. Like cosmetologist, I can imagine that being really fun, but I never really, I tried pursuing it. Like I toured a cosmetology school and I couldn't handle the other women. Like I love women, but I also like can't work with women who are so focused on appearances. There's like a superficiality there. And so maybe I'm just saying women because that's a common theme. I don't mean to be sexist.
I'm picking up is that work environment is very valuable to you as well. So you need to feel kind of just comfortable and safe in your work environment, and that you're not being judged or judging others.
Yeah. Okay. Another thing that it makes sense because cosmetologists are often compared to therapists because of the conversations that happen.
That's very true.
Yeah. So that's interesting. I also love the idea of being a florist. That's an art that I'm good at, and I could see myself being really happy there.
I like that you described it as art because that goes into your artistic core value, and you can be very creative and expressive in that. So I think that would fit you pretty well.
Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I think that it's funny that the scale, the conventional scale, which I didn't do to as high as the other ones, it has nursing home administrator, which I've spent a lot of time working in nursing homes, and I'm just not surprised. I'm surprised that it's one of my highest matches. I'm not surprised that it's one of my highest matches because there's a lot to enjoy about it, but it's also there's a lot to not enjoy. So it's like I'm not surprised that it's the highest on a crappier scale.
Okay, yeah. So what you're saying is, even though that's not one of your top 3, you're not surprised that in this particular category, that's the highest.
Yeah.
Okay. Would you ever go back to nursing or in a nursing home setting, or you just kind of been there, done that?
Yeah, there's not enough room for like the artistic aspects of myself. It's very much about like being told what to do, and it's not like I have a problem with being supervised or managed. It's just like having too much rigidity without enough of my own contribution. That's where I feel like my skills are being wasted.
Yeah, okay. So you like a little bit of abstractness. Like you like the outside shell of kind of what they want you to do, but you like to be able to take control of your own creativity and make it kind of meet the requirements of what your boss may want, but also make it you as well. Okay. These are your two lowest that you scored on in the occupational themes. So the realistic and the investigative. Physicist and mathematician are very, very low in the investigative.
That's shocking.
Am I sensing a little sarcasm there? Yeah. I feel you. I'm not too huge of a number person myself.
Yeah, these all look really boring.
What about...
I don't want to be a dentist.
What about a landscape grounds manager? Because that's pretty high and realistic, and you could probably use that with your florist. So like landscaping and putting like maybe exotic flowers to like zhuzh up the outside of a building or something. You could be pretty creative with that.
Yeah, I think that's something that I would be proud of, but I don't think that there's enough social stuff. Like I could see it being therapeutic for my own like time, like me time, but I need to connect with people.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So the next section that we're going to go over is section 4, and that's your personal style scale. So this work looks at things like your work style, learning environment, risk-taking, and team-oriented. So how this kind of works is there are two sides. This one is clear. This one is also clear. They're kind of at the ends of the spectrum. For example, work style is prefers working alone, enjoys data, ideas or things, and is reserved, and the other end is kind of the polar opposite, which is prefers working with people, enjoys helping others, and you're outgoing. There's also the in-between, which is the moderate, and you can tell that these orange dots kind of place you based on your answers in these personal styles. So for the work style, you were pretty moderate, but leaning towards clear in that you do like working with people and helping them. Does that make sense to you? Were you surprised by that at all?
Yeah, I think it's interesting that earlier in this evaluation, it sounded like it would be a lot stronger, but I think it's also good that they're pointing out that I'm not incapable of working alone.
Yeah.
And entering data.
Yeah.
Because as an office manager, I do like that too.
Yeah. So it kind of brings things kind of into a bigger picture for you. All right. Learning environment, you're kind of almost dead smack in the moderate. So you're right between prefers practical learning environments, learning by doing, prefers short-term training, and between you learn through lectures and books and willing to spend many years in school. So you're kind of right on that in-between line. What does that mean to you?
Well, I kind of feel like I've been in school for 28 years because I haven't had much of a choice, you know, so like undergrad had no job opportunities, nursing had job opportunities, and I spent a couple years pursuing them, but then it didn't work out. So here I am, 28, and still like I need a real job, you know, like I won't be able to work at the gas station. Not that there's anything wrong with that, it's just not for me. So it makes sense that I got good at it, you know, but I also do prefer the independence and like, let's get the show on the road kind of.
Yeah, that makes sense why you would score kind of almost smack dab in the middle of moderate. Leadership style, you also scored pretty high, moderately, leaning towards the side of comfortable taking charge. You prefer to motivate people, directing people, kind of being that leadership role of, hey, let's go, I need you to do this, and kind of delegating tasks.
Yeah. It's something that I'm growing in. It's definitely taken practice. I used to probably be a lot more down here because of like lack of experience and confidence, but I'm getting better at it.
So the more experience that you have, the more comfortable you feel delegating to others. And okay, perfect. Risk taking, you're a little on the lower side of that. You're still moderate, but you're leaning more towards the you don't like taking risk. You're kind of like reserved and quiet in that aspect.
I am actually surprised about that. I think I like to make educated risks. You know, if I really don't have a whole crap ton to lose, it's not really even a risk. You know, it's more of a choice. But, you know, I don't want to do anything to hurt the companies I work for, and I don't want to hurt my clients.
Mhm.
So I guess I do try to put more thought into things.
Well, that makes sense because it says makes careful decisions.
Mm-hmm.
You just sounds like you just really like to be well informed and make the
Mhm.
best decision possible with all the information and background that you can.
Yeah.
Okay. Team oriented, you're very clear on that you do like working on teams, you enjoy collaboration and working on goals together collaboratively with your coworkers and other people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? Is that pretty spot on?
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely. Like I not only like to help my clients, I also like to help my staff and my teammates.
Yeah.
So.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Any questions on the personality style?
No.
No? We still doing good? Are we hanging in there still? Like I said, it's kind of lengthy, but it's all very important information.
We're doing good.
Okay.
And by we, I mean myself.
That's okay. So this is just your profile summary. It kind of goes over everything that we've already looked at and just puts it kind of on a nice sheet of paper. So like we said, your theme code is SAE, that's social, artistic, and enterprising. Your top 5 interest areas, your top 10 strong occupations, and then your personality style. So it's just a way to kind of see this all in one spot instead of kind of drawn out.
So it's a recap.
Yeah. All right. So the next part goes back kind of to the beginning, but it explains it a little bit different. This is your interpretive report of basically just like more focused on work.
Mm-hmm.
So out of the 6 occupational themes, this just kind of breaks it down into another way of thinking about it. Your top one was social, so you're the helper. Your second one was the artistic, so you're the creator. And then the third one was enterprising, so you're a persuader.
Interesting.
So to me, what that means is, A, you love helping people. B, you want to do that in a very creative way. And C, you like to persuade people that being this creative does help people in this way.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean to you? Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, I like to, I feel like persuading is on the right track, but I want to be careful not to be manipulative of my clients.
Okay.
And I don't want to tell them what I think they should do. However, I do think that I have a lot of good ideas, and so what I do is, and I'm talking more about like my coworkers, I offer ideas and then let them decide what works for them.
Okay.
So, I used to like ask questions that would make someone say what I wanted them to say.
Okay.
I've gravitated away from that. So I think I used to be a lot more persuasive.
Okay.
But it's a skill I have.
Yeah, so it goes back to kind of the work environment and having that supportive system and the team environment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I think I have good ideas that are hard to argue against depending on the topic.
That's okay. So this goes just back to like your theme descriptions. So social, like I said, is the helper, the instructive caregiver. Some personality descriptions is you are concerned for others, you're very verbal, you're generous, you're humanistic. For leisure activities, you like entertaining, volunteering, reading a book. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, especially when it says the self-improvement books.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to spend more time reading those.
Okay. So that's kind of spot on. It's kind of hitting home.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Artistic, going back to that one. So you like to collect artwork in your leisure time, attend plays, concerts, maybe go to the Toledo Art Museum. That might be something that you would like to do on your day off.
Mm-hmm.
You're creative, expressive, independent, imaginative, and original.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what do we think about that?
I appreciate that you used the word original. That makes me feel like I'm contributing something.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Good. Enterprising, you're assertive, adventurous, energetic, self-confident. We kind of touched on that. With the more experience you have, the more self-confident you feel. And then in your leisure time, you like to do maybe a little bit of political things, like running for a local office, raising money for organizations, and enjoying sports.
That's not true. The last one.
No, not a sports fan?
Sports are like the one thing that I hate children, and then sports is the next one on the list.
So that's okay. So an action step that we can actually take is just to look over these, and you can highlight ones that you do like leisure activities and like careers that you do like, and you can totally cross out ones that you don't like. So for example, in the enterprising, if you hate politics, you can cross that one out. And if you love business, you can kind of circle that one.
Okay.
So it just kind of narrows down even more the career choices that you have that fit within your occupational theme of the SAE.
Okay.
Okay. So this is just another closer look. It kind of selects further down your career fields that might be beneficial to you based on your occupational themes. So counselors or psychotherapist, art, dance, or journal therapy, an elementary school teacher, religious occupation, speech pathology, and social work. I noticed that you got a little humor out of elementary school teaching. Can you elaborate on that for me a little bit?
I just don't like children at all.
Yeah?
They're so annoying.
That's okay.
Yeah, so I was really surprised that the scale, but they never really actually asked how I feel about children.
Okay.
They might have hinted at it, but I'm happy that counseling and psychotherapy are at the top of the list, and that journal therapy is next, and art therapy is next, because I can combine all of that.
Okay.
I'm going to make 2 careers out of one, or into one. That would be cool.
All right. So these are basic interests. It kind of takes like your top ones. Like I said, it kind of looks more in depth of, it's the same ones that I mentioned earlier, but it goes back into like your typical interests and activities within those specific areas. So we'll go with the office management. You like organizing records and files, which you mentioned earlier, coordinating office activities, and managing and ordering inventory. Okay.
It's true.
Yeah. Is there anything on here that surprises you, or is it kind of hitting home? Is it pretty spot on?
The nature and agriculture one, like I like flowers, but it's really not, it's never really been something that I really considered for more than like a minute, so it makes sense that it's at the bottom of the list, but I'm surprised that it's on the list at all.
Okay.
Even though I did mention it earlier, so maybe there's something about me that I didn't think about before.
Okay, so some action steps, just like I said with the last one, is you can kind of look at these, circle things that do stand out for you, cross out ones that you don't like. Also think about, like, are any of these present in your everyday life now? Are you doing these things without noticing that you're doing them? Or do you get more pleasure out of doing certain things when you do them?
Well, I'm an office manager right now, and that's at the top of the list. And I have a lot of experience in healthcare, which is the second on the list. I'm kind of surprised that human resources and training is above counseling and helping, but it's possible that that's because I have more experience in training other people than I do in officially counseling people. So I think they all match up, except for the nature and agriculture, but just because that doesn't make sense yet doesn't mean that it won't later.
Okay.
So I'll definitely explore it.
Maybe an area that needs more exploring, maybe a little bit of more education in that, so you can kind of see what you could actually do with that theme in that area of career.
I think working with farm animals would be fun.
Yeah. So the next one is similarity. I can't speak today. Similarity to occupations. So what this does is it takes your scores and matches it with working adults who are happy and confident in their current jobs. So advertising account manager is number 1 for you. Well, I will take that back. It doesn't really go in any specific order. It just lists ones that they think would be a good one for you. I do notice that there's mental health counselor and both a career counselor on here, as well as an occupational therapist. What do you think about that?
I think that occupational therapy has potential for me, but I'm not really interested in changing my educational path. Like I'm pretty invested in counseling. And I also like that I could combine mental health counseling with career counseling.
Okay. There's also a lot of like managerial characteristics. So like the administrative assistant, advertising account manager, nursing home administrator. So lots of positions of kind of being higher up and kind of delegating tasks. Like you said, you kind of enjoy now that you're getting used to doing that.
Yeah, it makes me proud that this test is suggesting so many leadership options.
Good. How does that make you feel about yourself? It seems like you were not so confident in your ability to be a leader.
Well, I'm getting better, but it makes me feel like my work is valuable and I can not only help my clients, but I can help my coworkers as well.
Okay.
And maybe even have my own practice someday.
Okay. So this goes back to your personal style. Like I said, the work style, the leadership, risk-taking, those factors. So what we can do while looking at that is consider your personal style in the 5 areas, and then also highlight what you agree with and cross out what you disagree with. So it's just another way to kind of think about this from a different angle and kind of really wrap your mind around it. So like your approach to learning, so like your learning environment, do you agree with you like to learn or you can learn new skills, or do you disagree with that?
Yeah, I want to make it my goal in life to constantly learn, because I've noticed growing up that there are a lot of people who just like, they just wake up one day and they're like, done learning.
Yeah, so
and they just
we would definitely like
over and
circle
over.
that one, and then we could like cross out one that you're like, I kind of like that one, but not really. So like I said, it's just another way of looking at it, and for you to really look at it from a different angle and really analyze and think about it.
Yeah.
Still doing okay? Do we have any questions?
Not yet.
All right. So this is a summary of the last part that we just did. It really goes and encompasses the whole entire assessment, because it goes from the very beginning and then adds in kind of what we went over in more detail. So it still has your highest themes, but it goes more into like your personal and work environment descriptions, your careers that might most be appealing to you, and how you like to learn and work. So it's kind of more detailed in that aspect. Does it surprise you seeing it all on one piece of paper?
No, especially since I noticed that this test is a little repetitive.
It can be. That's why I warned you it was a little bit lengthy.
But some people need that, so it's good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't argue with anything on the list. I like training. I like medicine, even though it's not my highest choice. I like fast-paced. I like flexible, self-expressive stuff. So it makes total sense.
So this just kind of outlines our next steps. Next time when we meet, we can kind of talk about things that you've thought about, any thoughts, emotions, feelings that have come up, or maybe you go home and you're like, you know, now that it's brought to my attention that nature and agriculture could be beneficial to me, like maybe I really want to do this. So I want you to go ahead and think about this when you go home. Go over it again by yourself, kind of really ponder it, and then we can talk about what things stood out to you the most, and we can look at maybe what you need to do to get to that career. Is it more training? Is it more experience, more schooling? Or do we need to switch everything completely and do a complete 180 and start over from scratch? So please take your time. We can do that. We are out of time today. I did want to take a few minutes to make sure you didn't have any questions, because I know that was a little lengthy.
No, you answered my questions as I went along, and you also asked questions that made me answer my own questions. So well done.
Perfect. Well, I will see you next time. Drive safely, okay?
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.